Ling Han, don't go too far. Cheng Hao raised his head and said he could not and would not yield on this matter. Ling Han laughed thickly and said, "And here I was afraid you might yield and cause me to have no more reason to kill you. This guy wants to kill me?" Cheng Hao's whole body shivered. He looked at Ling Han only to see a harsh expression on his face. He was obviously not joking. He couldn't control the trembling of his body and said, "Do you want to induce a blood feud between the two great clans? Do you want to become the greatest sinner in the history of the Ling clan? A tiny little Chung clan, and you think you're worthy of flopping around in front of me?" Ling Han said disdainfully, "If your Chen clan dare to make a move, I will eliminate the whole lot of you." Boom! Everyone in the surrounding area erupted with voices. What big words! The Ling and the Cheng were both powerful clans in Grey Cloud Town. Their strength was fairly equal, and should there be a dispute between the two, neither side would win, and would only come off worse. As a result, although the two clans both had the desire to get rid of the other, and thus gain sole authority over Grey Cloud Town, neither dared to make the first move. Ling Han, this trash, actually said that he would single-handedly eliminate the Cheng clan. Was he joking? However, looking at the fierce look on Ling Han's face at the moment, his whole body exuding an indescribable might, for some reason, it caused everyone in the area to become speechless. They all had the same feeling, and that was the young man in front of them at this moment was no longer the so-called trash they knew. There were even some girls whose gazes had grown bright. How manly, their knees actually felt a little weak. "How boastful of you, there isn't need for anyone else. My older brother alone would be able to single-handedly suppress you." Cheng Hao shouted, his whole expression filled with obstinate defiance. In his eyes, Ling Han was only a toy that had been bullied numerous times by him and his older brother, Cheng Xiang. Now that Ling Han had turned the tables on him to suppress him, this was something that he could not accept in any way or manner. "Pa?" Ling Han gave him another slap and asked in an awe-inspiring tone, "So you really want to die then?" If the Cheng clan intended to make any kind of retaliation against him, he would not mind eliminating the Cheng clan using this opportunity. Considering Zhu Heixin's respect towards him, having him take action naturally would only be a small issue. And while Zhu Heixin was no genius in martial arts, he at least had the cultivation of the gushing spring tear. It would be a piece of cake for him to eliminate the Cheng clan. So should the Cheng clan want to bring about their own destruction so desperately, he would not mind using Zhu Heixin to get rid of them. Cheng Hao could not help himself as cold sweat rolled down his face. In front of Ling Han, he felt an incomparable pressure and also felt the threat of imminent death. This young man in front of him was no longer the Ling Han of the past, whom he had bullied numerous times. He was now a terrifying god of death. "Pa!" He could not help the weakening of his legs as he knelt on the ground. Faced with the choice between his life and his pride, he would cast away his pride without any second thought. After all, once you die, everything is over. He really knelt down. The whole area was in an uproar. Cheng Hao was the second young master of the Cheng clan, and could to a large degree represent the entire Cheng clan. Someone like that had actually knelt down. Moreover, the one he was kneeling down in front of was a member of the clan which was Cheng clan's enemy. This could practically be engraved on the Cheng clan's plaque of dishonor. So Cheng Hao was actually someone who would bully the weak but tremble before the strong. Why did no one realize his cowardly character in the past? Everyone wanted to know the answer, but after thinking it over, this was quite normal. After all, Cheng Hao had always been in the spotlight as the second young master of the Cheng clan. Who would dare oppose him? Thus, of course, it would be impossible for anyone to find out that, underneath his overbearing, arrogant exterior, he was actually a big coward. But Ling Han really was too overbearing. He had actually forced the second young master of the Cheng clan to kneel down. Wasn't he afraid of provoking a great war between the two clans? So cool. The numerous girls that were already infatuated and love-struck because of Ling Han's previous actions shrieked loudly. "Ling Han, have you done enough?" Cheng Hao said with gritted teeth. There was only one thought in his head at this moment, and that was to leave this location. then come charging back with his older brother, regaining his lost pride and avenging the dishonor and insult he had suffered. "Crawl out of here," Ling Han said calmly. "What?" Cheng Hao thought that he had heard wrongly. "Pa!" Ling Han gave a kick to Cheng Hao's back, forcing him to hold himself up with both hands on the ground. "Ling Han, you dare insult me in this way. I want to kill you. Kill you." Cheng Hao was about to go mad. Kneeling down was already the greatest insult he could imagine, but if he also had to actually drop onto the ground like this? And actually crawl out of here? "So what if I insult you? Trash," Ling Han said coldly. Haven't the Cheng brothers insulted him enough in the past? The reason why the Cheng brothers dared to act that way was because they were stronger than his predecessor, and the adults definitely could not interfere in this kind of dispute amongst the younger generation, at least as long as there was no death or permanent injury. Otherwise, they would be laughed at by others. "You either crawl out of here or you die here. Make your choice," Ling Han said. So domineering? Was this really the Ling Han they knew? Everyone was struck dumb and speechless. In the past, they had all laughed at Ling Han for being a piece of trash. But what kind of trash would actually dare to force the second son of the Cheng clan to kneel down and crawl like a dog in public? He was freaking awesome. Cheng Hao was sweating like crazy. He had no desire to become a sinner of the clan, and even more didn't want to be shamed in public. However, facing the possibility of death, his willpower was simply too weak. Very quickly, he moved his hands, starting to crawl on the ground. Ha! Everyone around them started laughing. Suddenly, it was as if the laughter was contagious, causing even more people to start following their lead and laugh. The second young master of the Cheng clan crawling around like a dog. This was not something that could be seen every day. Cheng Hao's tears gushed out instantly. He gripped his fists tightly and swore in his heart that he would definitely kill Ling Han. Definitely. He crawled for more than 10 steps, then immediately pushed up from the ground and rushed out of the martial training court. He wanted to find his older brother, Cheng Shang, and kill Ling Han. Kill! 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 Pa! 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 Applause rose up and attracted everyone's attention. Everyone fell silent and looked towards the slender, beautiful girl who just clapped her hands. Shen Ziyan stopped clapping and said, "I have to admit this was a very exciting performance. However, do you think you can move me with something like this? You're deluding yourself. Don't think I don't know what your intentions are. Unfortunately, the gap between you and I is far too wide. You can't even compare to my little finger. To be liked by someone like you is a complete insult to myself. You think too highly of yourself, idiot." Ling Han shook his head. For the sake of his predecessor, he did not want to bother with his foolish girl. "With my talent in martial arts, I will definitely be famous in future and create miracles even though I am a girl," Shen Ziyan said loftily. "You do not have to say anything anymore. I know that everything you have done was to attract my interest, but very unfortunately, I will never look at a small character like you. Everything between us has long ended. I don't mind telling you, I've already obtained the invitation to Huyang Academy and will officially become a disciple of Huyang Academy next year. You, a mere piece of trash, actually dare to like me? You are not qualified. Not qualified. Not qualified." Fine, she can say everything she wants. Liking her, Ian, that was the natural course of events. She was beautiful and extremely gifted in martial arts, so she must definitely be admired. If you say you don't like her, damn. Then you must be deliberately saying contrary words to attract her attention. To be narcissistic to this point, she was definitely a weirdo. Even Ling Han was struck speechless. Usually when he's faced with this kind of shameless person, he would directly give a good, solid slap. 9th layer of body refining tier, a bit challenging, but not impossible. Ling Han's eyes grew cold, and he was just about to walk over when his eyes fell upon a beautiful figure, walking slowly into the martial training court. Liu Yutong. She was an extraordinarily beautiful woman who would become the focus of everything wherever she went. Very quickly, everyone's attention was attracted by her beautiful figure. Suddenly, everyone put on a stunned expression. She was so beautiful. Shen Ziyan was indeed a beautiful girl, but when compared with this person, she fell short, Moreover, this girl had an indescribably graceful bearing, as if she was a noble princess. In comparison, Shen Ziyan's so-called beauty was overshadowed to the point she looked like a village girl. At this moment, there was only one thought in everyone's heart. Who was she? Was she a goddess come down from the heavens? How could her beauty be so cool and elegant? Those who dared to have any thoughts about her felt like they were committing blasphemy. Under everyone's dumbstruck stares, Lu Yutong had already passed Ling Han by and, without a single pause, continued walking forwards. This was natural. If Lu Yutong had actually stopped, they would have been even more shocked. A mere piece of trash. How could he possibly have any relation to this cool and elegant goddess? Shen Ziyan felt great pressure. The other's beauty caused even her to feel her own inferiority in comparison, causing her to go mad with jealousy. The other was not just a little bit more beautiful than her. In all the categories, looks, figure, and demeanor, she was completely overwhelmed. So no matter how much she didn't want to admit it, she could only grit her teeth in secret. Lu Yutong stopped in front of Shen Ziyan, and with a wave of her hand, a slap sounded against the other's face. Pa! Crisp, loud, and clear. You! Shen Ziyan was slapped stupid, but she immediately flared up in fury. With a wave of her right hand, a similar slap flew towards Lu Yutong. But what could the 9th layer of body-refining tear do against the 9th layer of element-gathering tear? Pa! Lu Yutong's hand once again rose and flew down, and another solid slap resounded against Shen Ziyan's face a second time. With these two slaps, Shen Ziyan's beautiful hair was messed up, her beautiful face swollen, and she looked a little poignant, but her eyes were filled with fury and poison, as if she wanted to devour someone. She gave a sharp scream and once again attacked Lu Yutong, but this was obviously pointless effort. Pa, pa, pa! She was repeatedly slapped, as if she was a doll without any ability of retaliation. Everyone gasped. These two girls seemed to be about the same age, so why was the difference in ability between them so wide? Who on earth was this icy beauty, and why was she, for some reason, slapping Shen Ziyan? What right do you have to be proud? Lu Yutong asked coldly.